So at the last session, there weren't very many scenes per se, but there was a lot of talking, in some cases yelling. So you all had met face to face with Master Krex, a agent of Miss Vaughn, the Mistress in Red, at the Burning Needle gambling place in Consonance. You all pressed a bit harder for some of you than others for Krex to admit his affiliation with Selnivon. And we're sort of trying to convince his mentor, supposedly, or master, Hardhold, the owner of the establishment, to sort of support you in this conversation. Krex did eventually admit a few minor things, sort of confirming in front of Hardhold that, at the very least, Krex knew what you were referring to. However, Krex did prompt for you to offer up a little bit more than you were able to sort of communicate there in that moment. Aesop was charmed by Hardhold and led a screaming Klax out of the establishment. And there was a general tension in the air that carried over throughout the rest of the night. You all eventually are where you are at right now, which is the Oak Barrel in the Stone Landing district. I'm realizing that something, sorry, looking at my screen, realizing something. At the Stone Landing district, where you spent the night out of fear for Krex potentially sending assassins, and the fear of potentially being in the Tyrn family home at that moment. You all talked it out and decided to come to terms with a definition of what friendship is, or at least to give it a try. And you are all at the tail end of your conversation the following morning, with a shattered table in front of you, after Klax had a little burst of anger, still sort of digesting the conversations of the day, which, among many other things, include the plan to maybe make amends with Hardhold or to befriend Krex, and also just like having learned about Drada's whole situation and heritage. So it is still the morning, and you all have discussed a few things that you might want to do, but what would you like to do?
That's a really good question. Forgive me, because tempers have calmed down over the last 5 minutes, but what are our next steps?
I mean, I think we have plans tonight.
I don't know if I should be part of those plans.
I mean, you can tag along.
We can ask if you would like, if Hardhold would like you to come in and feels comfortable with that, come along. If he asks you to stay outside, maybe just chill for a while. I don't think there's harm either way.
Yeah, I think I'll come along too. I just have plans right after, with a friend.
What do we do in the meantime?
I could try to go to into the marbled walls and sell this cask, but
Do you think that's a good idea?
I mean, what could go wrong? It's in the marbled walls. There'll be like guards. Like, I think it'll be fine, right?
No one bad lives in the marbled walls. yeah, just geography completely guarantees your safety
Based
and
on
well-being there.
our conversation that we kind of just had, feels weird to say that, but yes. Mouse, you could turn into like an actual mouse or a ferret or a weasel, and then Drata, you could go in the bag, so you'd have company. Flint, I don't know about me or Clax, kind of just too kind of big to go through.
I was thinking about it, and it might be better if I just become your mount. That seems official for someone going into the upper city.
Would it be weird though if the mount just suddenly disappeared? Like, what if they took you to a stable and just they found you missing?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they let people just bring mounts in there, or do they have like a stable or something? I don't know how I think that would work.
Have we noticed living by close to one of the gates? Have we noticed mounts or animals of any sort being let through the gate?
I would say that there are a variety of stables where people do put their mounts. You would, Clax, roll me a. Oh, hold on. Let me use this. Handy
The new
dandy.
module.
I wonder if it's actually saves us time for me to do this or not, because I have to familiarize myself with it. I want to make Clax roll a history check. We'll see how this little thing works.
Yeah, not bad for me.
Yeah.
Is that an ability check? That is an ability check.
It's yeah. Okay, you are still technically exhausted.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Yep.
Hey.
Downside is I can't re-click on it like with the normal roll, but I will just
Okay.
roll again and take the lowest. You said history. Big number. Nope.
No. You've seen stables around town for sure. But off the top of your head, when you've caught that lucky marble wall rotation as a guard member, you don't really recall the lay of the land behind the walls, at least.
Yeah, Mouse. I honestly don't know, which is odd, but I don't know where they would keep or house horses. Maybe they bring them back outside the marble walls because they don't want the animals up there. I honestly don't know.
Or, I can be a very friendly pocket weasel.
Yeah, I think that would be better. I'm still unclear if I think we should try to finagle, people coming in, or if that's a bad idea.
I think you'd have better success with Drata and Mouse going in than Clax and myself. If you need the help.
They're going to be easier to come in for sure. I'm unclear what kind of magical protections or anything like that the marble walls might have, or the guards. They're fancy guards. They're the
Unifiers.
Unifiers.
Just because there's sort of this is sort of a freebie. You're very welcome to try anything you want. You do know that you will be under unifier escort, and you do know that the piece of paper grants you, Flint, entry. So you would probably want to consider, even if things go sour, what does it mean when your friends start popping out of bags? That in and of itself is sort of a crime.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we're doing it, I should maybe go on my own.
But Mouse would be your emotional support weasel. Come on. They can't deny that.
I think you should take me, because at least if shit does hit the fan, then I can alert the others that shit's hit the fan. Because there are fans all over the place around here.
If you take me, then you can say we've got this whole thing in the bag. And Drata goes upstairs and is done for the day. That's it.
Never seen again.
Yeah, I just think it's a bad idea.
Mouse, how long can you stay in wild shape?
4 hours.
Okay.
And I can do it twice, but like pretty sure I revert in the in between.
I would say, as a DM, I wouldn't. If you spend it another charge to extend the time, I would be fine with that.
But if I needed to alert people, I would have to drop it to cast and then redo. So, but thank you. That is nice.
Well, it is 10-ish in the morning. You have activities in the evening, both personal and connected to the mission. You do have time to kill. You also have a angry, I would say you just sort of like, as you're pondering your next moves, you just sort of look at the, you hear, there was like a sound of like hammering as somebody's trying to reassemble a new table from scrap parts in the back, and you just sort of hear like the sound of like somebody hammering their thumb and going, ah, son of a, you know, you still have to make that right as well if you so choose.
Yeah, I'll excuse myself from the remnants of the table and walk back around to the back where I heard him coming from, and just offer a hand, and if not, offer coin.
Yeah,
I will follow Clax and maybe put my expertise in woodworking to use.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if this is something you want to spend your day on, not for that long, but
building a table would take a long time. Maybe that's not a constructive use of time. We'll just pay him.
Yeah. Well, I know it's
probably like 5 gold, to be honest. Like which is a lot, but it's not money you don't have.
Yep. I will go over, issue my apologies, and give them 5 gold. I've updated my dollars.
But is there anything people, is there anything in particular people want to accomplish today, or are you just sort of hanging out until the burning needle?
I mean, do we want me to go try and talk to this guy in Marble Walls or not?
I think you should.
From what little you've told me, I don't think you should.
I mean, it's a lot of money. This guy's like seems reasonably on the up and up. Or we wait till tomorrow, and today when we're at the Burning Needle, we ask Hardhold if we can trust this guy. Because we've got a better in with Hardhold now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, Jada, you were there too. Do you think this guy was trustworthy?
That's a great question. So at the time, I will say my mind, there were several levels of focus. The first of which was, wow, I'm drinking blood and it's sure a Flint, don't look at me. The second was, wow, I'm really losing all 500 gold all at once. And the third was, wow, that guy's an ass. I could not really give you any further insight other than just rancid, but not immediately like scummy, but scummy in a different way.
Like he really wanted the cask. Like there was an unnatural obsession with him wanting the cask. Is that the vibe?
I mean, not necessarily. I tried to upsell it pretty well. So I think he was just adequately interested.
Hmm.
But
How much did he want to sell it for? Or buy it for?
I'm pretty sure I said 10,000 gold.
Oh boy. Boy.
I think they would have normally went for even more than that, and somebody did something fishy to like mess up the prices, and so they all went for the minimum, I think, which is like 7,000. But I don't know.
I still think this is a bad idea.
I mean,
Have you
Are we gonna use it?
not for 10,000 gold. We're not. All right. Put that one on the back burner for a minute. Is there anything else we want to do today?
I don't have plans until tonight, so I can just follow people around.
Since we're not too far from the factory precinct, is there any shopping we want to do? So I know a little bit ago we had gone and priced out some stuff, and we're kind of waiting for payday. Payday's come. I still don't think I can afford the stuff I was looking for, but don't know if it's worth a walk. Go see what else is available. If anybody else needs anything else.
I'm always down for a shopping trip. Did I pick up my armor? Sorry, Donna. Did I pick up my armor?
I think we sort of hand waved that you did, so check to see if you have it equipped, but I would say yes.
I think I do. Sorry.
Exciting. Aesop with an AC, wild.
ACOP. I don't know.
Hey.
So bad.
Oh, God.
I think, yeah, Drada would not be mad at shopping with the intent of finding a lovely apology gift for Hardhold. Just a nice little trinket to be like, hey, I'm so sorry that we brought a screaming match and the threat of violence into your institution. Here's a vase.
You are certainly welcome to do so.
Shopping trip.
I feel like you should put some real thought into this gift, because I get the feeling Hardhold's one that might have one of everything, or everything that he wants.
Well, at least make it unique. Make it very you, Drada. We'll figure something out.
Make it very you seems like a threat. I don't like that, but okay.
What's it trying to be?
I had this thought the other day. We do still have 3 questions that we can ask that elemental guy. I don't know if anything that we're currently doing applies to that, really, but
I feel like if we're in a pinch and we need to ask him about something related to elemental matters, that might be useful.
whatever happened with Neptus? How's he doing?
I'll pull up the rock or the stone, kind of like present it to the, or like put it on the table that we're at. Or are we standing? I'll put it on the table.
You put it on a piece of broken wood, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, to make sure it like stabilizes. How does Neptus look? So I know I asked maybe like 2-3 sessions ago, but
Now I'm trying to learn how to use this interface. Okay, everybody, I'm figuring this out. So without using the new buttons, everybody can give me a investigation roll, I would say. Anybody who's looking at it, at the very least. Clax with disadvantage, but you're fine. It's already a 7.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you don't care. Or you care, even if you care, but you don't know.
Yep, even better. Here we go.
Aesop, it doesn't look too different from you. It does sort of have a cold feeling, but not, it's nothing otherworldly. Like it's not like an ice cube or anything like that as you're sort of setting it down. Flint, I don't know that you've closely inspected it before, but I think with a 19 investigation, sort of like as you're peering into it, you just see like the veins of black energy that are running throughout it. You just sort of like barely notice like a new tendril, sort of just a very small, start to sprout from one of the others. It doesn't
getting worse.
Yeah, I would say like as a person who's worked with gemstones for other purposes before, like you would maybe think about this on like a grading scale, like how you would grade the quality of a gemstone based on its like purity and luminescence and things like that. And it's just like when you first saw it, it seemed like pure and brilliant and probably worth a fortune to some degree. But now it's starting to look more like a flawed stone.
Yeah, I kind of got these black tendrils, like the tiny cracks on it after I lost consciousness against the corrupted earth elemental fight. Part of me thinks that he was there to protect me against something that I was unaware of, or against that attack, or something that the earth elemental did. I mean, I haven't seen it grow. It looks the same to me, so I think we're like I think we're fine, right? Like,
Pretty
I
sure
think when
worse.
it's where
think so.
I didn't see anything.
Right there.
I think it's getting worse. You just hope that it's not getting too worse too fast.
Right. I think I'm, yeah,
Kinda
definitely
convince yourself.
delusional a little bit. I think we have time. Like, I can kind of see what you're talking about, Flint, but I think we have time until we get to, until we get to that area maybe with the waterfall. I forgot the name of it now, but yeah, that area.
Okay.
It did not help. I'm not gonna lie, it did not help when I took this lovely elemental here to the Temple of Apos and put it in their holy water. Did not pan out. Black tendrils started to come out and wave around, but I'm like, oh, let me just take it out. It's fine as long as it doesn't do that normally, right?
I mean, we should maybe spend some more time on this at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I'll put it back in the bag.
Oh, shopping?
Shopping.
Alrighty. What is Drada looking for?
What a great question. I
assume everybody's going to tell me if you're doing something else, but Drada, go ahead.
I think the thing that comes to my brain first. Also, sorry, there's a cat making lots of noise in the background. So if you ever just hear a cat or a human go meow, that's happening. I was thinking a really nice fountain pen or something of the equivalent, and Drada would then write a handwritten note with it. Something along the lines of I'm sorry for what happened, yada yada yada, but I'm excited to learn more and write our futures, the future of our people together, or something like that. Make a little cute moment.
I think you can certainly find something of that nature. I would ask if the two sort of markets that we've primarily talked about, Solar Square being more I'd say utilitarian. That might be the wrong word. Selling things that are more for utility than for opulence. Would you be trying to make the trek all the way out to the jewel market in an attempt to impress, or is this sort of symbolic?
Looking at I'm looking at the map.
And also, how much are you willing to spend is also kind of the other problem.
A fair chunk of change. I think Dradek would maybe trek to the jewel. Again, he doesn't need it to be. He doesn't want it to be ostentatious, but
yeah,
something that is crafted well.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. A well-crafted non-magical pen is probably 5 gold. I think Aesop paid 500 for his magical pen that somebody handmade for him. So it's
yeah,
you're just getting a nice pen.
That some cute paper, throw that in there too. Make it probably a little tacky because I don't think Drada has great taste, but he's trying his best.
Comes in a
I-
little case.
I'm not sure if this could influence where or if this influences anything at all, but Mouse has recently gained access to some new magics that do have material costs. I'm not saying that we should pursue these options, but if we wanted to have access to either scrying, which does seem useful, or reincarnate, both of those have spell components.
To the tune of
Scrying is a focus worth 1,000 gold that it does not get consumed. Reincarnate is, I believe, oils and unguents. I don't know that word. Worth at least 1,000 gold, which do get consumed.
I think we decided we were less interested in reincarnation for the moment.
you guys didn't actually really finish that conversation over personal reincarnation boundaries at the very least.
Revivify, it's fine. Just do it quick. Scrying could be useful though.
Yeah,
Well-
just I think the problem is finding what he said, a crystal, a focus of 1,000.
Yes, it says a focus worth at least 1,000 gold, such as a crystal ball, a silver mirror, or a font filled with holy water.
I would let you decide what shape it takes. It would just sort of be a spell focus. But it's more about the cost of it, I would say, and finding somebody who sells something of that nature.
I was about to say, forever back in, I think it was Horizon, that treehouse merchant, he would probably have something like that.
Didn't his treehouse move?
I think that's true.
Did it?
I think it was like not there one day and then there the next.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some implication that it moved, or that he moved to shop.
Zazius?
Yes, Azazius.
So many Z's.
Why don't we? I mean, we could start here for you, Mouse. It would probably be the Jewel, probably, or the fancier market that would have something like that.
I don't have enough coins though, so I would either need help if that's something we wanted to pursue. I just wanted to put it on the potential discussion board.
I think that's a great idea to get something like that.
You could shop around while Drada is out pen shopping and try to at least look at the options for sure.
So I know Clax has also mentioned, I'm assuming plate, armor. What other big purchases does anybody have on their radars, I guess?
I did mine when I got my armor, so I'm good for the moment.
For me, it's just whether it's plate, half plate, a better shield, anything I can do to kind of equip myself a little more defensively. Offensively, I kind of really like the haft of this axe, and all the fun stuff you've done to it makes it worth keeping for now.
Pondering eventually maybe upgrading to a heavier crossbow, but I don't think that needs to be at this moment. Also, I just spent 500 gold gambling. Oh, that's a purchase.
Fortunately, a purchase that you don't get much from, besides sadness.
Hey, I mean, I got the potential of a relationship and a very intense conversation about friendship out of it. And if that's not worth 500 gold pieces, I don't know what is.
If
Priceless,
only we had
truly.
some way to make 10,000 gold today.
I told you to at least attempt, to at least go for it.
You guys are having this conversation with insight of the marble walls as you're at the Jewel and shop and like just sort of looking around for different fancy stuff.
Yeah.
You're sort of like I could just go past this wall.
I could just go meet with the guy. We could buy plate mail and a crystal ball and whatever else we want.
Mouse, go ahead and give me a investigation check, just as you're sort of trying to, at the very least, find a vendor who might have something. And if anybody would also like to help Mouse.
I would like to help Mouse. I
Okay.
think you have a higher investigation than me, Mouse, so I'll give you advantage if that's possible.
She does have a -1.
Oh, let me at least
Are
try.
you sure?
But I guess I wouldn't know that.
I would say
know
you
the
see.
town, though.
Yeah, you
Like,
know the
would.
town.
Oh, sure. I for some reason I thought you had a higher investigation. Okay, there we go.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. There is a sort of these are just ideas that I'm giving you if you want to put shape to what this could be. I'm just sort of listing off a few options, but there is a stall that has some like relatively high security, probably because they're dealing with more expensive crystals and gems. And you do see there's sort of like a sign outside that has like a painting of one of their showpieces that does have a 1,000 gold price point. And this showpiece is there's two of them. One of them is like a very fancy gem encrusted compass. And the other is like a spyglass.
I was gonna say, could it be a spyglass?
Yeah. And as you're sort of like thinking about, well, here's where maybe I could buy something like that if I had the money, had the coins, the nondescript coins, then this is perhaps where you would get it.
Do you think that spyglass would work for you, Mouse? Is that something that you're looking for? Would that kind of fit the description?
I think it could. Like I said, I don't have as many coins as I would need for this.
Neither do I. But at least we know that it's here.
Mouse, how many coins do you have? Can I attempt to like actually count them and see if they're worth?
378.
Do you like open your bag and Flint can at least see what color they are?
Sure.
Yeah, it appears for the most part that like more than 95% of them are gold.
Okay. So roughly 370 gold or something.
It's about what I have as well. So.
Alright. Yeah. It sounds like we could. It'd probably tap us out if we were trying to get it as a group.
Yeah.
Right, and Clax's armor sounds important too. I was just laying out our options.
You would look really cool with that spyglass, though, Mouse. On the prow of your ship with the spyglass? I'm already imagining it now.
I'll have to find a feather to put in my hair.
Yes.
There's probably one in there already.
There probably is. I just rearrange it so it's like not buried.
Jonathan, what is it that you find as you're sort of perusing? Is it like, how would you sort of describe it? Like a fountain pen? Is it like wood?
I think it's a deep, like dark, like polished mahogany or some other rich wood fountain pen that you can see kind of the glass chamber. It's giving kind of like Art Nouveau swirls up the side where you can see the glass chamber inside and maybe some different glass colors. Strata's a little tacky, so there will be red because vampires, haha. But maybe he'll buy a couple inks and some nice paper to start writing the note.
Okay. You can message that to me if you would like, if it has anything more than what you said. But if it's just sort of like write the future together niceties, then that's fine. Well, at least with this shopping, you've managed to kill a few hours. unless there's anything more you would like to do prior to the burning needle. Obviously, you can kill some time hanging out, talking, getting some food as well.
I'll look at Flint. Flint. It's right there.
That's up to the group. I'm happy to go in and see what can happen, but
Well, it's up to you. I just have a feeling this is a bad idea that we can't all go in force.
It's true.
That's my concern, because I don't trust nobles. Period. So
Maybe.
Maybe-
Sorry, I was just gonna concur that maybe waiting and asking Hardhold is not a bad idea if that relationship seems to turn around.
fair. If things go well tonight, maybe we could ask Hardhold to like broker the meeting at his place.
It's a lot to ask for, I feel like.
We just need a room for a little while or something.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd
I
want to
might
cut.
put a nice little veto on any Crex initiatives for a little bit. Just because, yeah, this is a person who I personally would love a relationship with. I would love all of us to have a relationship with in the long run. But given how last night went, I don't think bringing that up now is good or smart. I
Okay.
think it's a quick in and out, and I think you have a lovely evening.
Yeah, because I imagine it's one of his more regular guests, and he made it pretty clear that he doesn't really expose information about people who regularly attend the casino. I don't think it's a good idea asking.
I mean, how hard can the guy be? He's like a regular there. Hardhold wouldn't just let, some evil guy in, right?
I hope not. And I will say, like, if it gets brought up organically, or I don't think it's smart for any of us to further that conversation tonight. And
I agree with
I was
Drada.
looking at Glax being like, I
Oh,
hope this is okay. I want to make sure this is an avenue that we are pursuing. I just don't want to cut us in our tracks tonight.
let us mend relationships tonight and see how it goes.
Okay. So we're not going to ask Hardhold about the other guy, whose name I've written somewhere.
Magnus Goldenshire.
Right.
Ugh, what a last name. It's like a hobbit from the Shire.
But the worst.
That doesn't get invited
Rich
to the
hobbit.
feasts.
I mean, when he and I initially talked, again, we love full transparency. We love honesty. But yeah, I chatted with him trying to learn more about the vampire community here in Consonance, and also just want to help. How can I be of help? Connect me with other people. If he does that after tonight, and we find all the folks around about Rex or other, like, I think gaining connections tonight, not losing them, is the smart thing in the long run. But also, I'm not going to be pushing that either. I just want to finish the deal that we said we would finish.
Do you want to at least go in and look at the spyglass thing, or?
I mean, doesn't really seem like there's any point if we're not going to purchase it.
Harder to case the joint from outside, but sure.
I mean, like, what if you walked in and we're like, oh my god, it's so start, relationship building. The theme of yesterday, friendship. The theme of today, relationship building. Start building a relationship with the person selling the spy. Start talking them down, and then buy it for less than 1,000 gold. I'm realizing that saying this to Mouse is probably the least effective person to say this to, but
I understand, Drada.
I mean, we could talk to some people, but
Let's go in. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna, as a DM, push somebody to do something.
Fair.
Let's go in.
You're going into the shop.
Mm-hmm.
I open the shop door, say, "Hi, I'm Mouse. I'm interested in the spyglass."
You swing open the door, and it is pretty expansive inside. There is somebody who sort of looks towards there's like a bell that rings as you enter the door, and shopkeepers sort of like acknowledge you in your entrance, and you sort of start speaking before they even get to welcome you. You look inside, and this place does have sort of like a strange trinket but form of like opulence to it. There are all sorts of like expensive knickknacks or things crafted from gems and rare materials. You see like this wand that has a like a shape of a like it originally starts as a sort of like leather cord wrapped thing that seems to have some kind of like expensive leather that you can't really identify wrapped around it, and then it has like a lightning bolt at the top of it. You also see another like a large staff that has a kind of like lizard's head at the top of it. It's all entirely made of bone. There's a feather quill that is like burning. It just is like on fire. There's like a chalice that's glowing. There's an hourglass that is sort of like just rotating, just like constantly rotating, such to the point where like no sand can transition between either of the two containers within the hourglass. And there's just all sorts of stuff. And you do see sort of at one of the top shelves behind the counter that there is this very like opulent hourglass that, truth be told, you look at it, it's not something that Mouse would normally carry. It actually, for you, it almost would be a staff. When it's sort of in its unfolded form. Otherwise it would maybe be like more of a wand. But it sort of like, just looking at it, it has so many lenses and like different lenses that will rotate and go on top of the main lens that sort of add different filters or effects to whatever is sort of being seen. And it, it clearly it could zoom quite far if you were aiming to use it in that way. And it is just like bedazzled with like encrusted with diamonds and other things. Doesn't, like, the illustration didn't necessarily do it justice, but also just some people it might look a little ostentatious, but like I think like for you it does look like an impressive piece of, like, it's exactly what you need.
I
Is there
think
a name for the store? Sorry.
Let me just confirm. It is the Enchanted Emporium. And you, as you sort of like bust open the door and exclaim your eagerness and interest in this, there is a sort of like older elven woman with sort of like graying hair, and when I say older elven woman, I mean somebody who is showing your years, which for an elf is probably semi-ancient, who looks at you and says, "Well, you have quite a keen eye. Of course, this is something that I'm sorry, and your name is?" And she looks at all of you, and you all sort of, those of you who are in here, I don't know if that's is that everybody who came in?
I went in behind her. Yeah.
Okay. Everybody who came in, it's not just her eyes that are on you. There are sort of these like large stone statues that turn their heads towards you, as well as some like humanoid guards who are bedecked in red tunics and who have swords on their sides. So it seems like not only does she have like private security in the form of people, but she has some sort of like golem situation going on, and all of their eyes immediately turn towards all of you.
I think upon entering, instead Mouse would have been like, I'm Mouse, I'm interested in the spyglass. And just kind of like melt freeze seeing it in person. And being asked what kind of snacks and say, oh, I'm Mouse. These are my friends.
Hello, friends. Well,
Aesop, nice to meet you.
pleasure. Well,
Introduction.
she sort of nods and sort of acknowledges each of you as you make yourselves a little bit known. And she says, my name is Astra. I am the owner of this establishment. I suppose she's sort of like looking at all of you and says, you all seem to be of a type that have interest in perhaps some of these wares. Is this spyglass for anything in particular?
Well, maybe. I'm looking around. I'm very interested in everything you have here.
Well, that is very, the DM's trying to think of a word. I am humbled by your interest. Of course. Is there any questions that I can help you out with? Would you like to see it? And she sort of reaches down at the spyglass and doesn't like hand it to you, but sort of like sets it down on a table as you kind of get a closer look.
I think we'd like to know what kind of properties it has. We currently own a ship and we expect to be traveling around a little bit. So it would be useful to have something like this if we can use it for navigational purposes.
Well, it's she looks and says, well, it is a spyglass.
Okay.
So yes. It is more commonly, I think, designed to be a bridge between souls in a way.
Oh.
It's the right person with the right arcane abilities may be able to check in on their friends from a distance. She describes it, just to be clear, she is not describing it as a magic item. She's describing it as the spell focus that it is for the purposes that you need it for. But I will say, like, it is sort of a resilient object. It has like innate magic to it, which would make it hard to like destroy. It's not just like a wooden staff. And she says, but it can be used as a traditional spyglass as well, of course, if you are taking your ship on a voyage and looking to get a lead on what lies ahead. Well, it has quite the magnification, so.
May we hold it? Touch it?
There's like a little bit of an eyebrow raise, and you see like the attention of all of the protection here is sort of locked on the object at all times, but she says, of course.
Would you like some assurance? Would you like something of mine to hold?
She hands it to you.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty heavy. Not heavy to the fear that Mouse couldn't wield it.
Okay.
But it is like, this is probably a good 20 pounds of glass that is inside this thing.
My friend Mouse was the one who pointed this out. Would you mind if I just transfer it over down?
Yeah. No, you have you hand it to her, and Mouse, you're looking at it.
Does it work at night?
She says she tells you to put your eyes in it, and then she flips one of the filters. Like there are different like filters and lenses, and one of them does have like a dark vision enabled on it. The magnification, it's like you're staring at like you don't know what you're staring at because it's so you're zoomed in so far, but you do sort of see that the coloration goes from black to gray as she sort of hovers her thumb over the lens.
Mouse, what do you see?
I wonder if I could find some of the missing stars with this. I just wonder what all I could find with this.
Seems like a pretty useful tool for you, Mouse.
And turning back to Astra, I don't currently have enough to pay for all of this. I'm learning how money works, and I know there's usually an exchange. Is there anything you want that could help offset the cost?
She sort of give me an insight check if you don't mind.
Good at insight, bad at understanding money.
It was insight that I thought you were good at.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a degree of like mild short-term disappointment that you sort of say that you don't have the money at the moment. But as you sort of start to offer something else, she sort of says, well, I'm interested in other unique objects, either found or crafted of equal value. I tend to focus on the wondrous and slightly magical things of the world. Truth be, she sort of like leans in close and says, "Truth be told, the money is not terribly important to me. I just love what I do."
Mouse, how attached are you to that star map cube thing? You probably want to keep that, right?
I don't think I think it's a piece of something I haven't figured out yet. It's too bad we don't still have that book.
that would be an exchange.
Well, if you should ever find anything, things don't tend to fly off the shelves around here, so...
Crazy that we have magical something in a cask right now. Crazy. So strange.
That's fair. What if we had something worth far more than this lens or spyglass?
Such as?
Have you heard of Avendir?
A recent auction just stopped by in Constance, auctioning off his brandy beer, going out of business, but incredibly popular.
I think I've heard of it. I'm not extremely familiar with it, but I've heard that it has some magical qualities.
It certainly does.
We weren't allowed in the auctions, but we do kind of we are friends with Avendir, so we kind of get updates on how his tour is going, of course. And we were told that he's doing really well. The casts are going anywhere between 7,000 to 10,000 gold.
I heard even more. I was hearing maybe 13.
Really? Just at Dusklight. Was that a Dusklight that he did that at? Wow, that's really crazy.
No.
Give me a deception check, because since you decided to go to Dusklight where he hasn't even reached yet.
Yeah.
With advantage since he was getting assistance.
I was gonna say,
I'll let them each roll separately.
Okay.
I'll roll separately. Oy.
Oh,
I'm at a 10 technically because it's deception. Part of it is, right?
If you use Silver Tongue, yes, you would be up to a 17, I think.
I would like to use it. I don't know how to put it
No,
it's
in the
fine.
chat.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
She says, that's interesting. I would have to, of course, well, I would need to have it appraised myself. I mean, I would need to see it and speak with some experts, perhaps, and maybe we could work something out. I would say 13,000 is a bit steeper than.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Well, we want to give you a good deal.
Yeah, because there's a trade involved in this, correct? So
I mean,
has to be
certainly
good
you're
on both
not
ends.
seeking to trade something with a 1,000 price tag for a 13,000 price tag.
Kind of the question was like, would you be interested in purchasing that for some sum of money plus the spyglass and or maybe some other cool items? You seem to have a lot of cool stuff.
I would need time to think on this, but
Absolutely.
just because money is not a concern of mine doesn't mean that I have
Certainly
infinite amounts of it. I don't know if that is really. If she says, "We're a day. What do you have? How much do you have access to?"
I have 376.
Sorry, the brandy.
we have access to an unopened cask that we've been sort of given permission to sell or trade.
Do as we please. Yeah.
I don't think there's a world where I would ever need a full cask. But should it be opened someday and a portion equal to... we could come to an arrangement on what a portion would be, then perhaps that would be something I'm interested in.
Thank you for letting me look at it. Is
You
there
can-
any-
Very beautiful
More
item.
that you're particularly proud of?
Sorry, say that again.
Is there anything else here that you're particularly proud of?
Well, I'm certainly proud of this. And she goes to the wall, and there is a kind of like an amulet that has it has like the chain of an amulet, and underneath it, a chain with an amulet that has a sort of like glass dream catcher ornamentation to it. And she says, this one is actually a bit magical and something that I had traded. I forget what I traded for it, but I think that when you say how am I proud of it, I suppose it's just the most enchanting to me. Something that I've actually been able to use myself, but it helps you to sort of store your dreams and reflect on them. I find it to be useful in a very unique way. A lot of magic items have people have ambitions for strength or value, something a little bit more spiritual. This is why I prefer this one. But again, if you find anything interesting, or if you find that you open this cask that you seem to have, she sort of like is looking on your person, doesn't see a cask, but says, and wish to trade some quantity of the brandy, I'm sure we could make a deal of some kind.
Thank you. You've been lovely.
Thank you as well. She sort of like gracefully takes the spyglass back from you and sets it back up on the wall. And you guys exit. After now, you've sourced at the very least where you could get that. I will also tell you, because I described it as being encrusted in diamonds, those diamonds would serve revivify purpose, although it would render the spyglass a lesser worth, such that you couldn't use it for scrying until you sort of re-encrusted it, you know. So just sort of like pointing that out as it is sort of multi-purpose in that way.
Interesting.
Which is I think the same is said about, because I think you still have some of that diamond encrusted incense too for the for Calliope. I think like theoretically that counts as diamond as well.
I was about to say, do I have any? I think I used it all.
No, you bought 2
I do have
charges of
some.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you bought 2 charges
I
and only
did.
used one. So
I do have one.
And I do have a 300 gold diamond. I'm just considering that in the pocket, not part of our current
yeah, fair.
expenditures. Well, that was fun.
Well, yeah, we have another use for the brandy. How do you feel about opening a portion of it, though, Flint?
I mean, really, at the end of the day, it is sort of your brandy. You did win it.
I did, but I'm fine with however we want to use it.
I don't know if I think opening it and divvying it out that way would make it less valuable. Like, is there... Because some people like to buy it as like an investment. Maybe it just staying sealed and whatever magically is bonus. I don't know. Might be easier to get off our hands if we open it and divvy it out, though.
DM reminder, because we've tasted the brandy before. What magical benefit did we get from it when we tried it in? I think it was Horizon.
Yes, it was sort of debuted at the Rising Melody, and one full drink of it would restore a expended class resource. So like you would get a bardic inspiration back, you would get a spell slot back, you would get a use of second wind back. It's sort of a like something on your character sheet could be renewed by one.
If we decide to divvy it up now, Flynn, we could just keep the cask, couldn't think of the word, with us, and then just use it for ourselves in case we need it. It's always another possibility too.
Feels so expensive for that, though. I don't know. Maybe it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever revealed this, but it is. There are functionally 32 charges worth of this drink in this cask. So you can do the math on sort of what you think that means gold-wise.
Yeah. Like 32 spell slots is not anything to sneeze at, for sure. But 10,000 gold's a lot of gold.
It is.
Yeah, what that's a little over 300 per spell slot, essentially.
I should clarify, it's any level spell. It's not just like a first level spell.
That's priceless, especially for Mia Mouse.
It's up to, the group. If we want to open this thing up, sell off a couple of charges and whatnot for a scrying implement. And
Y'all might be lucky. I didn't know that's what it did when we were in the Savannah Islands.
I did, and didn't say it on purpose.
I thought it was per spell slot level.
Bravo.
Keeping to character, right, Flint?
I am rereading it. It's up to level 5, so it's not like some high level wizard casting level 9 spells isn't gonna.
Still,
I'd like to cast another wish, please.
Yeah. One more wish.
I don't know. It seems silly to open it on my behalf, but perhaps if we see a good avenue to get clocks and armor, to get the things that we want, as well as to, I don't know, get us out of trouble somewhere, it's certainly valuable, and it should go to good use.
We didn't see any like armor sets on the wall in there while we were there, did we?
No, and it seemed like her deal was not in that sort of gear at all.
Like tchotchkes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's really cool spyglass, though.
Mhm.
It's a really cool spyglass that after we get paid next, we could definitely afford.
Which is when?
Like 75 days or something.
Yeah.
73.
73? Okay.
We get paid in 73 days.
It's once a
Ugh.
season. The
Ugh.
seasons are 91 days?
We just have to go back to the Savannah Islands and be trapped without any sense of time for another month or two, and that'll
God.
be
No,
great.
thank you.
Yeah.
God.
Or just sell it to Magnus Goldenshire. Sorry.
What could go wrong?
Well, I would say for a little bit of brevity, you know that if you start making your way to the Burning Needle now, sort of with the intention to arrive after sunset, given what you know about the clientele there, you're probably still going to be a little early. So you could aim to show up early, or you could just kind of kill some time here. And we can sort of like fast forward through all that, unless there's any like further conversations people want to have before moving over to the Burning Needle.
I mean, I know what we could do. We can discuss consent for reincarnation.
Ooh, yeah. That's a loaded question.
Now that you guys had a solid, like, I don't know, 3 hours to ponder.
Can we do this over food? I feel like we need food in this conversation. Or is that just me?
Well, I'm never going to turn down food.
You can
If-
certainly find food.
I think you usually eat after you give blood, but like, sure, that's fine.
There's no harm in doing it before and after, right?
Depends
Go to
on
Mother Mary's, and everyone has some spicy blood.
With reincarnate on the table, I will tell you that the spell was made before Dragonborn and Minotaurs were added to the roster, I think. So let it be known that I will expand I may update the reincarnate list so that there's still a chance of keeping your race. Actually, Dragonborn are on here, but I'm going to rebalance this chart in case it ever happens. But there is just letting you know that things are possible still.
Hopefully not with my new armor class. Mouse, could you go over the spell again? I imagine we have food.
Yeah.
Scarfing out food.
You
It's fine.
find food for a modest amount of money that you don't have to worry about in your channel.
Yeah. If somebody like dies and dies too long for me to be able to revivify them, I can bring them back. If I think I need any part of them and 1,000 gold worth of oils and things. But I don't so much bring you back as you were as potentially as a new form. Still the same like person and whatnot, just in a different body. As long as you've been dead no longer than 10 days, I can make you a new body.
I'm down. Like, if I'm dead, I'd rather be, I don't know, a wood elf or minotaur or whatever. It's not dead.
I don't know. I think if this is it, maybe this is it.
But it doesn't have to be it.
but that's your choice. That's why I want to ask now, is because you're much harder to ask once you're dead.
True.
Unless you speak a dead before and then do that spell.
Out of character, to be clear, there's also other people in the world who might have the raise set spell. Or NPCs who could help do it in another way.
Do any of us have Spare the Dying?
Nope.
Why would we need that?
That's probably in that book.
Someday we're gonna get that book. It's gonna happen.
I don't know. I
Many years from now.
kind of want it to just be the joke for the rest of the campaign.
Guys, if you can give me very concise and very specific directions on where we left it, I could potentially have not Button, Fern pick it up on her way here.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought touching that thing was it touching it was a bad idea, or was it reading it that was a bad idea?
I think it was a little bit of both.
I mean, I can give good instructions to retrieve without touching.
Was it touching the book or was it touching the crystal? There was a crystal involved at some point. I'm gonna have to go back.
I feel like Aesop remembers reading it and hurting.
Suffice to say, it poses a danger to anybody who retrieves it.
I like to think there's now a necromancer kobold out in the
Yes.
world somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mouse, I don't know if I'm comfortable not being a Minotaur anymore. What would my parents think? I can't see myself in any other body than this one. Put me down as a no for now, but I'm gonna have to think about it more. It's a no in case I die if I don't have the conversation with you again.
You're welcome to change your answers at any point before your death.
And I appreciate that.
someone
What?
probably here is as Flint as a character wants it. Me as a player is like, ooh, a chance to make a new character?
True.
I don't think you make a new character based on.
No,
what
I
you
mean
already
like I could say
Flint
I
dies.
Oh, got ya. Ooh,
Be new art.
Damn it! I thought I'd made up my mind. Damn it. Flint, damn you. Or actually, Fleeger, damn you.
We do all realize that Mouse is the most likely to die, right?
Oh, have you met
No.
Aesop? He likes getting stabbed.
Yeah. I don't know why.
17
I-
AC Aesop.
Right. I do have a bigger. It went from 12 to 17. That is a huge
That's wild.
jump.
That is
Huge.
ridiculous. That is really good.
Who has the lowest AC now? Is it me?
Mouse.
Gotta
I
be-
think.
It might be you. I'm at 14.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that reminds me, at some point, I did change my shield back to be enchanted, so I am at 19, but like, whatever.
Oh, you have the repulsor shield.
Yeah.
I could
Artificer
do that.
tank.
You guys wait till level 10. If I take all your enchants away and just give them to myself,
Do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. I'll be sad, but like,
If you become our tank, great.
you find new magic items. It's fine. It's fine.
We have a place to go now. Jada, Klax, how do you feel about being reincarnated into a new body? Possibly.
I think. I mean, yes.
I think being in this body is already complicated enough, hard enough. So if you were to do it, and I think my initial preference is probably no, but I'm not going to say outright no, but whatever you would want me to become. Just like make it simple. Make it something that's easy.
Oh, I should maybe clarify. I think it takes a lot out of me to bring you back. I'm not sure I have a lot of control over the form you take.
I don't get. Okay, I was just about to tell you what I was going to pick, but
Clax, I think we still want to know what you would want to be.
oh, anybody else getting seconds? Food? More food?
I'll take some food.
Everyone, let's just guess what we all would be if we could be in different bodies. Max are giving me like big porpoise energy.
Now,
I don't know why.
I know what Clax wants to be.
He's already a reptile.
Clax wants to be a Harrigan. Or however you pronounce them.
Something that I eat for dinner. That's what I want to turn into. Yeah.
No, you just really liked being a rabbit.
Oh, that's right. Mouse.
Flint, what would you want to become if you had the option?
I don't know. Something that's faster?
Longer legs. It's
about you,
just
Mouse?
humanoids. Sorry, it's just humanoids, right? This
Yeah.
is okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I realized there were humanoids that weren't halflings about 6 months ago. So the world of possibilities is wide.
We have learned a lot in the
I could
past
be
6 months.
so tall.
It is pretty great.
All right.
Can you imagine if Mouse managed to cast this back on the island and resurrected a creature into a completely different form that no one had ever seen before? This is my favorite, low budget movie that's playing in my head right now.
The Beholder. Just like something else.
We're just gonna have to get some character art if this ever happens, but we'll figure it out.
We will. It'll fine. It'll be
It's
fine.
fine. We're not going to run into any problems. None of
No,
us
we're not
want
gonna
to
die
anymore.
ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
We just leveled up twice. We're fine.
Yeah, of course. And you've managed to avoid all of the fights that I've set in front of you so far since you've been back. Well, you all have this conversation, and after like an hour or so of dinner, you start to walk back towards the burning needle. And sort of, I would ask you, how early do you want to be? Or like, are you looking to be there when people show up? Or are you looking to like let them settle in? Like what is your approach in this night? And are you all going? I think these are things you can talk about and discuss as you're walking over there.
I'm going. I'm keeping my mouth shut. If they want me to stay outside, I have no problem with that.
I will also attend, and I will provide blood if needed.
Aww. I mean, I want to get there with enough time that we can intersect thoughts. Make sure.
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit, I think.
All right, want to make sure we get there with enough time that we can intercept the lieutenant and kind of all go in at once. But I don't really feel the need to get there early otherwise.
And I think she has the wherewithal to. She knows what time to come. She's not going to be there early for any reason. Okay. You all approach the burning needle as the sun is setting, around the same time that you have been coming in these evenings. You do hear you have a sense that there is a little bit more noise in there than there was last night when it was quite empty. It sounds like there's sort of mingling and people who are setting, like, without being able to eavesdrop on exactly what is being said in there, like, it has the same atmosphere from the outside as it did when there was a game night. And you just sort of hear the sounds of like glasses clinking and people settling in for a night of fun in various ways. As you are on the outside, like as you're sort of approaching, you do hear or you do see Lieutenant Pot sort of like sitting on a stoop at a neighboring building and sort of stands up and sort of dusts off her legs and starts to walk over to you all and says, so, thank you again. I hope that tonight's the last night.
I think it should be. Thanks for showing up again.
Her eyes gaze over to the front of the building and she sort of raises an eyebrow and says, it looks a little bit busier. And you all see Esmeralda, the sort of like woman in green, sort of greeting a few people as they're coming in.
DM question. I mean, when we first made this arrangement and prolonged it to 2 nights, they did not seem to have a problem with us coming back the following 2 nights. / seemed that would be the most expeditious thing.
There was, I mean, after last night's drama, there had been a suggestion that there would be a sort of like break, like come back some other time. We'll figure it out. Doesn't have to be tomorrow. But you all have sort of insisted with it from yourselves that like you would try to do it tonight anyway.
Yeah.
So you've been given like a time, an undefined time reprieve to let tensions cool down, but sort of that had never been communicated to Pot, so it's sort of good that you're meeting her anyway. And then B, now that your party is maybe a little bit more aligned, I think there is still an open door to come visit tonight, but you just have to be on your game.
To Potts, I'll be like, I think everyone's going to be a little too focused on the actual game part for if you're worried about any attention being brought on to us.
I'm just eager to be done with it.
It's fair.
Shall we?
And do it then.
Let's get this over with.
I imagine Klax is in the back. I'm actually going to stick with him. Him and I are both going to be in the back.
Okay. Perhaps Drada taking the lead in this particular case, as Esmeralda sort of finishes greeting, I would say a familiar green-skinned woman that you're sort of following in behind as you see Maureen enter. You're maybe like 20 feet back at this point, and she sort of disappears behind the doors as Esmeralda stands outside and says, hello. As I feel like I know that you've been here before, but I think that we discussed about setting up an appointment if you wanted to get a table.
Was she saying this to us?
Yeah, she's saying it to you all.
Yeah, we're actually we are here to help remedy and clear a way to find Lieutenant's debt behind me. This was something we had talked with folks about. Tensions rose last night in a conversation. I'm just here to get the debt gone and be done with it. And That's all. We're not really interested. I hope that's not offensive. That we're not trying to play tonight. We're just here to do a service.
She sort of looks at Jorada and looks at everybody. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check, if you don't mind. I keep forgetting to use this prompt, so I'm just gonna...
Oh, sorry, that's perception. That should not be a 15. That should, in fact, be a 4.
Even
You've just been quiet and see if it would have like flown under the radar.
Yes, the perception.
the suave Gerada just marching in.
Does anybody say anything? Like, I think you all hear Gerada maybe fumbling through this and just get like there's still an air of tension in the room, even though Esmeralda wasn't there last night. Does anybody do anything as she's just sort of eyeing the group?
We had a heart-to-heart with within the party and calmed down, at least amongst ourselves, and we hope everybody, on the other side can also be civil, and we're just here to, pay off a debt.
You can roll persuasion as well.
I think it was a good idea for me to talk.
You probably have this better plus than...
I'll look down at Pot, who's probably not understanding what's going on because we're not being let in.
She has a raised eyebrow, as like trying to suss out what the hell you're talking, like what's going on.
I'll look at her and be,
to that.
Make it 15.
Yeah.
I'll look at her and be like, something happened last night. If we don't get in, we'll inform you. Just keep in mind, there will be tension in the room.
What do you do anything for your flash of genius? I know it's hard to be creative with it, but
it is. I don't know. I would just be trying to, I think, read her and gauge what she might be thinking, and you
get the sense that she's been briefed.
Yeah. Trying to make it very, diplomatic and clear that we're here, good intentions, we're not going to start anything, and I don't know, thinking back to his psych classes or something. I don't know.
She just says, if you could just wait out here for a moment, let me see if he's available.
As soon as she leaves, I'll look at Flint. I'm like, we could have suggested that we leave our weapons here.
No.
Just saying, it might have gotten us in.
Getting out of rule from Clax. That's Flint saying no.
Pot sort of says, do I want to know? And what do you need from me?
We need literally nothing from you. You're good. Things just conversation got heated.
Yeah, we're just here to kind of finish off your debt and that kind of make amends with what happened last night. It doesn't involve you or the situation that you are in.
You're
good.
Not the problem. You're not the drama.
I'll say one and only one thing about it, but as maybe I am comforted not being the only person who's made a mistake here. You should not get in trouble with these people. That's all I'm saying. I know, hypocrite, but...
When she says these people, Drada just smiles a little wider and turns away.
Clax just biting his tongue because in his mind he did nothing wrong.
The door opens and Spike comes out and just sort of looks at everybody and says, is this something, do you want to talk to the big man, or are you just here to pay up?
If he's got anything to say to us, sure, but...
And I interrupt, and so I mean, yeah, the primary. We're mostly here just to make sure that it is paid. I brought a gift and an apology of sorts, and pulls out the little pen and letter and situation wrapped in something nice. Probably not the most beautifully done because I don't think Drod is capable of doing things very elegantly. But it's yeah, I suppose I have it could be a one-way communication. It could be two, but I'm personally here to apologize.
He interrupts you and just waves you in the door. And as Drada comes in, he stops the rest of you and just says, "Wait outside. We'll send for you if you're needed."
All right.
Before going in further, and should I drop my crossbow here? I'm happy to leave it.
He doesn't give any indication that he's reaching for it, but he just says, "We've got a short time before the game begins. If you're not gonna cause any trouble, have a quick in and out conversation, and then." All right. He starts to lead you upstairs to the sitting room that you've seen before. This is when you first came here and had met Spike and gotten drinks at the bar. You come to that upstairs area with the sort of glass, like full glass view of the factory precinct sort of surrounding the burning needle. And you see Hardhold sitting on a chair, sort of expectedly. You get the impression that he was told that people had arrived, or perhaps saw you from the windows above. And Spike sort of leads you upstairs and then leaves. And at this point, you see Spike sort of escorting the few vestiges of players here tonight that were sort of getting a drink before the game began. And the room is cleared, and it's just you and Hardhold, with just like soft candlelight in this room, and there's a bartender polishing a counter in the corner of the room. And Hardhold says, "How are things? Everybody cooling down?"
Yeah, I think there were a lot of heart-to-hearts, a lot of learning the value of communication, a lot of some of me trying to describe why I'm here, not telling them everything, but giving them some more context for why I want to be here right now. I don't think fully gets how he escalated is wrong, but I think he's at least conscientious enough to be civil and not try to get in the way again. And I'm sorry.
I have a degree of trust in you because of your heritage, your home, your connections. Certainly, after last night, you can understand how I may be cautious of your companions. And I've told that you all are here to continue with the payment that we started last night. But the reality is, I don't think any of your friends, or, well, not all of them, but some of them I don't think really want to help. And it's not, it's fine. And it's not in our interest to have people provide for us unless it's something that they want to do. Admittedly, some wants are rooted in greed and money, and people find themselves here for many reasons, but suffice to say, I question what it is that your friends want.
I'm happy to talk through that a bit. I mean, I know Black's the angry one. He wants to help out Lieutenant Potts. They have some sort of relationship before I got to know him, and he wants to help her. The rest of them want to help me and are invested in my trying to succeed in my goals. And as of this morning, now know a whole lot more about me, and haven't run away screaming, crucifying yet. I just wanted.
He does raise an eyebrow. He says, "About you."
They don't know everything, but they know. They did not know that I was a Dampier before. Now they know that.
He sort of nods. You get just sort of like with a passive insight. You get the impression that he had guessed that, but he hadn't known.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that I want to be here, and I am dragging them along the way, or I would argue they want to be here too. I think we all feel pretty terrible about how last night happened. And I personally just want to make things right best I can. And if that's getting you what you deserved and that we agreed upon in a quick and timely fashion, and so that you don't have to deal with them as much anymore or have the problems of them lurking in the future, that's fine. I think that's smart, but they grow on you. I know that might be hard.
I am inclined to believe that you feel this way about your friends. And I'm inclined to believe that they have some compassion. They did, as you said last night, and we're the better for it. I'm also not inclined to invite them in here again. At least without any kind of show of... You see, he sort of pauses and says, "We had a deal, and I'm inclined to let the rest of the deal go. But we had talked about two ways. When you had initially came here, we talked about two opportunities that could help our people. One was tracking down debts. You did manage that, and we could just collect and move on from this situation, but it doesn't really leave a good taste in my mouth." He sort of chuckles like it's a joke, but it doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth to have this just be an exchange anymore. Something that you provide and then ask about my associate and then move on. I think if you want to help us, really help us, there was the second thing we talked about, the ruins of the former blood bank that need to be excavated, made safe, purged, whatever it is, whatever help you and your friends could provide to potentially allow us to rebuild what once was. that would serve the greater population. Some blood is it's food for a few days for a few people. But what we really need is infrastructure. We have people, some who are willing and don't even participate in all this. He sort of points to the building, like some who are willing and still friends and family of those who find themselves hungry and thirsty. What we need is the infrastructure to keep that source of food healthy and fresh. The blood bank in its era did that. It had a preserving quality to it. Blood could be stored for years before it spoiled. That's what we need. So I guess that's what I would ask you is, do you want to pay off the rest of Lieutenant Potts' debt by having an exchange and we go on our merry ways, on our merry paths, or do you want to help us?
I mean, I think I made it pretty clear in our first conversation that helping us is the reason why I came here in the first place. So, however,
I suppose I trust you, but I could use a little bit more of a show of faith from your friends.
what do you want to see?
Well, your friends they seem armed to the teeth in various ways. If you all could investigate the former blood bank and see what you can find, eliminate any dangers, then that is, and report back, of course. Maybe once it's clear, you could show either myself or one of my employees around, show them in person what you've discovered, then...
Okay, quick clarification. So sorry. Are you talking about the blood bank as in like a physical location where this was, or like the institution? Because I've been trying to learn more about conceptually what this was, but if you're talking about tangibly going to a place, yeah, we got you.
There is a tangible location. He sort of assesses like how young you are and says, I guess you wouldn't know, but
No.
there used to be a infrastructure from each of the districts that would, through a series of pipes and whatnot, would direct donations to a singular center where they would be stored and managed, and where our kind could go to sate their thirst. That most of that infrastructure has been destroyed, but the facility itself, I never went deep inside of it, but I do know that there was sort of technology of a sort underground that helps to store everything. So he sort of asks, like, if you have a map or something, and I'm sure you have something, and he points out to it. It's actually not very far from Aesop's family home. You see sort of like a set of ruins up here on the map that he points to or sort of indicates and says, it has long since been left to ruin, and some of the protections there were deemed unsafe for our kind to kind of venture into it, so maybe your folks would have a little bit more luck.
I think folks would be very amenable to go.
Well, if you do this for us, I will consider Pot's debt repaid, and our doors will open to you once more. The matter regarding my associate, apprentice, whatever you want to call it, he is free to make his own decisions, and I would not would not expect much friendship from him, but he calmed down a little bit after I spoke with him last night. So
I mean,
that's a conversation for another day.
Absolutely, I had no intentions of even talking about him this evening. That's Max's stuff to figure out, and I'm there to support him, but I'm here to talk to you and try to make things right between us, first and foremost.
Well, do this and you'll be right with me in my book, even more so if you can figure out how to get it operational again. We do have some minor arcane experience in such things, but I don't expect that we could walk in there and flip a switch or anything, so any expertise that you have would be welcome.
Well, I mean, the short guy who was really good at talking until he wasn't happens to be good at me, so I'll get his best take.
Very well. He looks. I'm asking you this because you can tell me whether this is the time, whether you would hold on to this until perhaps after the blood bank. But do you plan to give him the pen now or later?
I would say I would give it now, but just this is a note, and then I will. You can open it now. You can open it after we come back from the blood bank, hopefully with rich success.
You hear the sound of Esmeralda entering the room, and he sort of, you get the impression that it's time for him to go because the games are about to start. And he says, it's appreciated. For now, I must have business to attend to.
Thank you for taking the time to talk.
And we will take a quick break before we unfold what is next. But that conversation ends, and we'll come back in like 5 minutes.
Talk to you in a couple.
Okay. As Drada is having this conversation with Hardhold, so sort of rewinding 10 minutes, I would just sort of ask, is the party doing anything outside?
I would probably see if I could just pull Pot a little bit further away from the group, like not trying to run away in a back alley or anything, just a couple feet away, just to kind of have a quick, kind of hushed conversation.
Yeah. You guys are just sort of like twiddling your thumbs at the moment, pacing around.
And just say, kind of look over at Lieutenant and just, I think we still have some catching up to do to understand exactly what's gone on since I've been gone. Do you mind if I catch up with you after all this is done?
Just, we can chat, but are you talking guard business? Because respectfully, I'm not, I'm not supposed to talk about everything.
I just want to know what happened to the... After she brought up the names. I saw you had some new faces in the group. I just want to know what's going on with that.
Well, I know this isn't what you're asking, but they are just people I inherited from the academy, so... But, let me think about it.
Okay.
I feel like... I don't know a whole lot, but also... Even though I really shouldn't talk guard business, I know they were yours, so... Let me... Not tonight.
Like I said, just want to catch up with you sometime in the future.
And, listen, I know I unloaded some stuff on you, but you should not... I hope it goes without saying. Everything I just said to you everything I said to you last night is not for Uben's ears as well. Or really anybody's.
I assure you, nothing is for Uben's ears.
All right. Anybody else? I guess that's Aesop and Mouse and Flint. Just waiting.
I'm just waiting patiently to get blood.
Drada, you are eventually escorted out by Spike. During this time, I think like Esmeralda would have poked her head outside to see if there were any other clients or customers coming in. But she wasn't just sort of like waiting out there or really engaging with you. So eventually the doors would open and you kind of just expect that it's her, Esmeralda, poking her head out again, but you actually see like Drada being led out by Spike. Spike, who I think in Drada's quick departure, he had been passed a little bit of information from Hardhold just to be like, they're going to help us with something. See them out. Nobody's to come in tonight from their group. And then Spike sort of nods. And as you're sort of led out of the door, Spike looks at you, Drada, with just a "you heard the man" expression, nods at you, and closes the door behind him. As the rest of you are sort of left outside, and you hear the sound of a locking door as the games begin inside.
Hey, so we don't have to give blood. Yay!
Don't have.
Good night.
Pot says don't have to, or
No, we're actively being told not to, if that's the way you want to do it. Rephrase it. Potts, you're really getting out of this in a lovely, lovely way, and I love that for you. Yeah, you're kind of good for the time being. We talked and
define time being, because I am looking to close the book on this.
The rest of us have a new task to try to accomplish, and you don't have to put any work towards that, and if that task gets accomplished, your debt is absolved.
She just sort of is looking for the catch.
I mean, yeah, we have more work to do. So I guess that you're still in technical limbo for a while, but I have faith that we could do it. So yeah, you're not getting no blood for you. I mean, or I guess more blood for you. Dang it.
So, what did we get involved in?
Honestly, something that is more along the lines of something I've been interested in and wanting to do anyways. How much? I don't know if I want to have this conversation with Lieutenant Potts, but that's not me trying to exclude you. It's just I don't think it's relevant to you. You're good.
She sort of says, "Let me get this straight. My problem is now your problem."
Yep.
Should I stay here?
No.
Are you looking? Do you need help with this? I mean, it depends. Depends on. I mean, I have duty during the day, but I have my nights free for the most part.
If it would bring you joy to explore some ruins, then sure. But I mean, essentially, what happened is the idea of we finished the debt and end the conversation there feels really transactional, and that's not how we wanted to leave things off. If we still want any shot at talking to Krex in the long term or having a good relationship with this person, which for me is important to have a good relationship with this person, something that would be more helpful and something I've been curious about is exploring what actually has become of the blood bank system here in Consonance, which conveniently is near looking at Aesop, near a lovely place of residence.
Really?
Pod does sort of interject and be like, listen, I get the impression, like, if you need my help, say so. Otherwise, I get the impression that I don't want to hear about what you're about to do.
Have a good night, Lieutenant.
Sort of looks at everybody else and says, all right.
Yeah.
Catch me up when you can. At least let me know when it's all done, and I'll get you all a drink or something.
Sounds like a plan. And Lieutenant, stay safe.
Don't gamble.
Fuck off.
To him, to me, to both.
And she turns away and walks away.
She
She was sort of laughing a little bit, but like in an incredulous, like, what the hell's going on way.
As she walks off, I just kind of give Klax a look, like she'd keep her mouth shut, right?
Am I able to decipher said look?
I would say it out loud if you didn't appear to get.
She's good, because if she were to say anything, I think that's why she leaving now is a good idea, because she's not put in that spot where she knows something that she should report. Also, if she reported anything, we have all of this. Like, she's in a rock and hard place. So whether she's a willing ally or not, she's not going to go talking.
Are we exploring some ruins tonight, or?
I think someone had plans tonight, though.
Oh, right. Where's your?
And we need to head back that way anyway.
That's true. I was supposed to meet my friend at my family's house, which that's crazy that I guess like where are the ruins? Like around, like in compared to my house strata. Just wondering if I've ever like walked past them before.
I mean, I'm more than happy to. I suggest that we start walking away and start making
Yeah.
our way, just
Okay.
so we are not.
Yeah. For a short
but-
time, you're like, you can see Pot like 5 minutes ahead of you down the road, outside of earshot. But for there's that awkward moment where you're like, oh, we're walking in the same direction. But,
How's that for us? Yeah, if there's ever like a lamp we pass by, I can pull out my map and point to where. He identified the ruins as being.
Yeah. Aesop, how much mischief does college kid Aesop get into?
I'm not gonna say none, and I'm not gonna say a lot. I would say there was some mischief of just being young, stupid, and wild in a big city. Probably trying to get into the marble walls once or twice. But I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the district where the university is in would be where all the mischief would be, just because it's like the district where the school's at. So I would say I know that district pretty well.
Roll me a wisdom check with advantage, just like sort of a memory check.
We love memory checks. Let's see if this worked. 13.
Yeah, I think a 13. I don't know that you ever remember going there or being there, but you remember something about Poppy, like in her effort to practice painting, there was always some like dumb graffiti on this one building that she wanted to cover up. And it was sort of like one of those spots. It was like a spot that was open to some artists, although it was a little bit shady to go to, sort of a more disheveled area of the district. But yeah, there's people never really went inside so much as like covered up the outside.
Right. Oh, I actually do think I know of the building you're talking about. I can't really remember the details of it, but I just remember my really like amazingly talented painting friend, Poppy, super cute. She used to do little murals on it, covering up some of the weird graffiti. We didn't really understand what the graffiti was about, but it was her practice before finals, so that's where she kind of chose to do it. Hopefully some of it's still there.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see it, but we have a whole... Essentially, yeah, there is a blood bank system that used to be around so that operations like the Burning Needle didn't have to exist. There was a way that folks could come and feed that was ethical and sustainable and had systems of keeping blood to consume for like years on end. And part of the reason I'm here is about 5 or so years ago, that system died. And no one really knows why. So, I mean, his ask of us to do this is very much kind of in line with what I'm interested in looking into. So, like, honestly, him being like, "No, here's a different ask," was kind of great for me. But yeah, I think that the task at hand is to investigate it. He mentioned, yeah, there could be less than friendly faces or entities down there, so clear it out and make it safe to go through and see if there's any hope of trying to restore it in some way. I think that feels, I don't know, I'm biased, that feels pretty amenable. Restoring a system that helps people in an ethical and sustainable way, that's pretty cool.
They don't know what happened to it?
I want to offer just a correction for you, Jacob. I don't know if Drada's concealing this or not, so forgive me, but more than 5 years ago. This was
more than 5 years ago.
Okay, this is before, I think, like, because Drada's like 17. This is like something you heard about existing, but you weren't like born then.
Well, I don't know why 5 years is in my head.
Okay,
but,
sorry.
No, thank you for the correction. It happened a while ago. But the system, like, that, I don't know, I mean, would be pretty revolutionary if it were to come back. And I'd like to help make that happen.
Mouse, what was your question?
I was just clarifying, you don't know what happened to it?
No. No, I mean, literally, hey, Aesop, remember when I was like, hi, give this letter to your friend who's not your boyfriend, so he can go research it?
Mhm.
It was looking into questions like this of just what, like, do we have ledgers? Do we have history? And the answer is it's all been conveniently moved.
What the answer specifically was, it was actually checked out by someone named S, right?
Is that the
DM?
Source Academy?
At the Solstice or at the library.
Source Institute.
Yes. Oh, yes. Source Institute. Yes. Sorry. Trying to remember information.
That, I don't know, reads as interesting to me to say.
Yeah, that's someone else's involved, and for what reasons? I agree. Clax, based on your reaction, with Potts earlier, it sounds like there might be a possible trouble coming our way with the guard if we
Nope.
decide to do this.
No, we're trying to avoid putting any situation where it's in there. So DM question, do I know of any, is this like an off limits, it's patrolled area, or is this just kind of a,
I think it was the
next question.
last session I had hinted you rolled like a low history check, and I said something that there was like an area that you were told to not really go to.
that's right.
And it's now it's just kind of coming back to you. It's like, oh yeah, that place is off limits. Sometimes you would walk past it or in the street over, but you were told explicitly to not go inside.
So I don't really know the place. It's one of those kind of in our briefings, and when we show up in whenever you're in the Northern Heights, it's like, just, you don't go into this area. So I don't know if there's trouble to be made with the guard or not, but I think as long as we're in and out and do what we need to do, I don't think it's a problem. I think the bigger thing is just make sure that Pot does not have any liability or reason to report. Ignorance is bliss in certain aspects.
And I'm
Drada,
behind
is
reading.
Drada, is this a tonight thing? Is this
I
like
don't
an
think-
earlier the better?
I mean, I think it's an earlier the better, and DM, correct me if I'm wrong, in the context of, again, Pot's in the lurch, and if we want this to be good for her, then we get it done. But it didn't read. I mean, that conversation didn't read to me as like, I need this done now.
I think. I mean, this has been offline for many years. When you first brought Pot by, there was a degree of Hardhold who was very impressed by the quick turnaround time, because it's just 2 nights ago that you first met Hardhold, and then you brought Pot back the next day. So it's like, you've established yourself as a somewhat efficient and effective person, but there is no deadline put on this, and nor was there any discussion about, if this isn't done, what happens to Pot. It was sort of like, this was sort of a, we need this done. Pot's debt doesn't really matter by comparison. And so,
Yeah,
take that for what you will.
I mean, I think it's another thing to add to our list of things to do while we're in town. And I don't know what else is on that list that is pressing and urgent before we leave. So
We're all pretty fresh. We haven't done much today. Like, why don't you go on a date and then we go to a ruins or go to the ruins?
Couple things. One, I am still a little tired from our previous day's adventures. 2, I don't want this to be the next Savannah Island.
I mean, I think by virtue of the fact that it's a single place and not a sprawling island beset by tempests and harsh environmental conditions, I don't think it will be.
All right,
I
let me
also
phrase
just
it. Continue, Drada, please.
The other thing I will share is, communication with. I got the vibe that Krax has simmered down a bit post last night. I don't think he's inclined to be friendly or talk to us anytime in the near future. So, for the time being, I would effectively call that avenue of inquiry dead. Not forever, but for a bit.
So, okay, then. So you've kind of answered my next question then is, what do we get out of this?
We get back, I think, in holds better graces, and that gets us more likely a conversation with Krax. Also, if we already need to let some time pass before we chat again, this doesn't feel like a bad way to spend it.
No, but we could be going after other leads. Because I
We
don't.
could,
Because I don't think
if those
Krax is
leads
the
take
guy.
us outside of the city, I'm just saying I think it's more efficient to do this now. Or soon.
Like I said, why don't we just take care of it tonight and then it's done? Like,
No, Klax needs to go to bed. Klax, you deserve
he
to
was
sleep.
fine to me.
Some of your scales underneath your eyes starting to droop a little bit.
Shut up.
You get scale dandruff? That's a questionable.
Just like a little shedding in one area.
We don't need Klax to do ability checks. It's fine.
None at all. That'd be silly.
Oh yeah, because it was not
In a dangerous
embarrassing.
new
Not.
environment?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was not embarrassing failing every strength check I had to make against a fucking. Sorry, what's your strength, Aesop?
Let me tell you, what is my strength? My strength is 12.
Yeah, it felt real good losing every one of those ability checks. Let me tell you, felt
Honestly-
fantastic.
Hey, Aesop, what's your lowest stat?
11.
What? For real?
My lowest stat is 11 in Tide, Intelligence and Wisdom.
Wild, okay. Anyways, yeah, I would love to go to bed. I don't know. It's almost like we had an emotionally draining, very long, drawn out Scream Fest less than 12 hours ago. So I'm not mad at having an easy night and trying to accomplish something tomorrow or the evening after.
Is there anything preventing us from going into this during the day?
Besides people possibly seeing us better? No.
From what I remember, this place is it's out of the way. If it's the place I'm thinking of, it's out of the way. People really don't walk by there. It's one of those things you barely even patrolled past there because there wasn't much going on. Is there, and I'm looking at Drada, is there a reason why this can't be done based on the time of day?
I mean, it's a fair question of it's a space meant for vampires. It's a space that is probably most active at night. But
You
it's
were
also
told
a
that-
ruin.
Yeah, I 2 points of note. One for Klax, you do know that it is patrolled, so going during the day means trying to avoid patrol, which may be a little harder during the night as well, in theory, but maybe easier. And then just sort of for Drada reflecting, like Hardhold did suggest that a lot of the infrastructure is underground, so you imagine that once you get inside, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a question of just getting past guards, I'm happy to help however I can. I feel like once we're in, and that's kind of that.
Then I say we keep walking. I find a comfortable spot on the floor in your parents' house, Aesop, and Aesop, you go have your hangout or whatever you're doing. I say tomorrow morning we go right at this. Thoughts?
Agreed.
Sure.
That's fine with me. And for folks who have the ability to pick what they want to ask the next day, looking at Flint too, especially like there's a lot apparently of like machinations and machinery or things that could once have been operational and now aren't. So anything we can have to keep us safe and also investigate, figure out how to get this stuff working again is helpful.
All right. Sounds like you're going tomorrow. So as you continue your long trek around the city once again, you know how it is. Not every city's like this, but this one, those big walls. Anyway, you do arrive a little bit probably later than you probably would have liked, but that's just the nature of hanging out with vampires across town. And you see the lights on in your family home. Normally your family would be sleeping at this hour. You would expect them to be, at least. And you sort of walk in, and you see sort of enjoying a bottle of wine, not only your parents, but two other figures. One, your good friend Savvy, who I don't know if I don't have art ready to just show you in program, but she's like I think she's human. And she's wearing just sort of like a like long playful dress with like kind of flowers on it and things of that nature.
Alfalfa, sorry.
Oh yes. And additionally, you see Eula, and your mom says, sort of your parents who are sitting down with them on the couch, sort of say, I didn't know you were having friends over, so we thought we'd keep them company. They were both expecting you tonight. This one, Eula, I guess the one that had stowed away a little bit when we came back, and then of course, and then Savvy just sort of like runs up off the couch and gives Aesop a big hug and says, "It's so good to see you."
Oh, it's so nice to see you. We have so much to catch up on.
Eula sort of like quietly stands up and nods at the group. She's wearing an expression that's I'm going to ask for, let me see if I can remember how to do this.
Oh no.
I'm going to ask for Mouse because you're always checking people's insight, and Clax because you're sort of attuned to her needs. If you could both roll an insight check for me. Clax technically with disadvantage.
Yep, I was just about to ask. I still get. Oh, nice. At least. Yep. Rolling hot tonight, man.
Get them out of the way. Clax, you're just surprised to see her. Mouse, natural 20. You get the impression that she's been wearing a smile for hours, to sort of like, oh yeah, I'm just here for the party. She's like been pretending. She's been pretended that she was invited to a party because she didn't realize that you would have other company, but she did say she would stop by tonight after she found her new headquarters. So it's the exhausted look on her face of somebody who's been listening to small talk and pleasantries and like really patiently waiting for you all to get here. But she does seem glad to see you, nonetheless. it's not an annoyed look as much as it is just like a finally. But your Murda, Aesop's mom, starts to pour a glass before the bottle is emptied, and she says, "I'm sure we have some more in the back." Your dad is sort of in the back kitchen, sort of whipping up some snacks and whatnot, and your mom sort of goes back to fetch another bottle of wine, as it's just sort of the lot of you outside of the family that are here in the living room right now.
I think I would take Savvy, because seeing Elula, it's going to be a serious conversation, or at least a conversation that Savvy doesn't need to hear. So are we like, it's going to be a boring conversation. Do you just want to go to the park and like have a little like night picnic? I think that would be so much fun. We haven't done one of those for like ever.
Sure, yeah. I can't stay too late. It's already getting a little late, but yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I will grab some of the snacks that were supposed to be a part of the pleasantries for everyone else, and then I'll make my way to the park. DM, now I have a question for you. Based on the lights surrounding the center of the city, some of it hits the park. Is that true?
Yes.
I would like to go to that part of the park.
Okay. It's a little bit more of a moonlit experience for sure. But yeah, you grab a few to-go snacks, and maybe like she's not like drunk or anything, but you get the impression that like it's a little bit late to be drinking much more.
Right. I grab more snacks than drink anyway.
Yeah. Enough bread to sober up.
Right.
And you head off. And she, as she's being sort of like dragged out the door, she's like, "Nice to meet you, Aesop's friends."
And then I'll like skip away with her because I'm just so happy to be with her.
Okay. We will return to that later. The rest of you, Elua sort of takes the moment and says, "Do you still have some energy to have a quick conversation tonight?"
Absolutely. We have some catching up to do on our end as well.
Well, I'm eager to hear anything you have to share. I really just came to deliver where I'm staying now, should you need to reach me again. My work has been inactive, so I don't have any new leads. But I did come to an agreement with the proprietor of the Aquatic Anchor in the Van Sennery district, and it's somewhere that's quite close to the Temple of Apos. It's up here on the map. And she says, "I have a room set aside in the basement. Generally, though, my work takes me to the edge, so I'll probably only be there in the nights and early mornings, as I try to get back out during the day. So it's the only update I have for now, but is there anything else we should catch up on?"
Yes. And Clax will stop and kind of look around at the remaining members of the party here. Make sure, like, especially Drada, like, kind of give the like, look, am I good to talk? Like, I don't want to say too much. Or actually, I'll just ask Drada. Can I tell about our encounter? I won't go into too much detail, but of who we met it up with.
I'd ask, you keep some of the discoveries we made this morning private.
Absolutely.
But go for it otherwise.
And you hear the sound of people doing dishes in the kitchen as Aesop's parents are outside of earshot.
All right, so I'll be brief. We found Master Cracks.
She sort of has a sharp inhalation, like a slow but sharp inhalation of breath as she sort of waits for you to continue.
It is unknown if we can. He came across as being blackmailed in our vision. It is unknown if we can turn him to our side, but the fact that we're not dead yet from our encounter is. I'm going to go on the side of caution and say it's a positive sign. So we're working that angle at the moment. As soon as I have more information, I'll find you at the aquatic anchor and give you more info.
Master Krex. Yes, we didn't have that much time to, suppose, really talk too much after the Dream Mist experience. He's not unknown to me beyond this. I should say relatively unknown to me. It's only been rumors that I've really heard.
Rumors do you have?
The truth of it is quite, just to be clear, very unsubstantiated rumors. But she sort of pauses and says, if you've heard talk of the king, they're referred to as Ventus, the title that people use to refer here to the leaders of society. That to be Ventus means to be the king. The terms are used pretty interchangeably. But the nature of such a thing is that your former name tends to disappear. I think if I remember correctly, I feel like I recall that King Ventus, or Ventus, used to have some distant blood ties in the Krex family. Distant. And based on Krex's, we'll say, position, seems to be a position that's more outside the family. He seems to be somebody who's kept at arm's reach, or somebody who's no longer a part of the family, or something along those lines. So something must have happened. But, and I don't know how distant is distant. Is Krex a prince? Is Krex a, I don't know these things. But that's just what I know. If the Mistress in Red has some leverage over Krex, then chances are he's trying to keep whatever it is that he's done, or keep whatever it is that he's become outside of the royal family. Not sure. Just guessing.
Pretty astute guess. Okay, so go ahead, Flint.
Do we think this is simply that it means there's vampire ties back to Ventus?
I mean, my brain went to, you want a dramatic incident that sets you off from a family? Little bites in the neck.
Sorry, lost you there for a little bit. Can you repeat that last part?
You get bit in the neck. That'll sure cut you off.
I know it
certainly
also.
get the impression that, given these big glowing walls, whether it's an official stance or not, can't imagine Ventus is a big fan of vampires. And
Maybe that's part of the reason why Ventus is not a big fan of vampires.
yeah, maybe.
Okay, either way. Elua, we're gonna try and build some bridges that avenue with some mutual acquaintances with cracks to see if we can't work that angle a little bit more over the next day or two. So try and follow up with you in 2 to 3 days.
Is there? I know that I promised to pass along leads as I could make them, but a lot of my work tends to be on the street trying to help in the aid and recovery of people who've taken a little too much of what they're supposed to be ingesting. She sort of says, like, with a distaste in her mouth, talking about, like, she's indicating that she sort of, like, helps to care for those who are overdosing on vapor and stuff like that. And she says, and while I might stumble upon a lucky answer now and then through such things, I suppose I would ask, is there something more active that you imagine you could have extra eyes on? Something that I could be tasked with, or, well, what I mean to say is, if there's a lead that you want me to chase, then I can. If you have other business, then I could look into this Crack's figure, or if there's anything else.
I look over at Drada. And I'm just gonna say, like, kind of mouth, like, try and not be in direct line of sight of Elua, and kind of mouth Hardhold to Drada.
I think Drava shakes his head.
Okay.
I mean,
Then I'll turn to the
Dude.
group and just say, guys, you know me, I'm not the most strategic thinker. What can we have Elua dig into that would be beneficial for this situation?
You don't know anything about Magnus Goldshire, do you?
I mean, my brain went to, like, find a way to get us in the marble walls, but it's tangential to the situation.
She's like, I don't know. I could look into Magnus.
It's probably really not important.
I should probably not spend my time on it then.
Well,
Like, I mean, maybe learning more about trying to investigate more, talk to further people who might know, like, how, like, what is his relationship to the king, or like, what is that royal connection? Slash, trying to learn more about what. I mean, I know that's probably just talking to people and maybe hitting the books, which doesn't sound exactly thrilling, but maybe that's helpful to know.
I can see what I can do. I have friends in many places. Long goal might be able to make a connection. Not sure.
Are any of those friends wealthy friends?
Not generally.
Fair.
The longer that I stay away from the edge, the more people will fall to this man-made plague. I will chase this lead, but time is of the essence. More people fall sick to vapor and its effects every day.
I know.
Previously to this, I would do my best to mitigate that, but well, there's no stopping it this way. So I'll do what I can.
I'm sorry, things have moved a little slower than I would like to, but I think, as someone pointed out, this is probably our best option right now without having to leave the city and follow down either some of the leads we saw in the dream. And rather than getting further away from the problem, I'd rather stay here as much as possible for the time being till we exhaust every avenue.
Well, if we're able to get her behind bars, it's not going to happen overnight, so.
Bars are underground, either way.
I would prefer bars. She kind of gives you like a little bit of a hard look.
I just stare back at her. Not intimidating, just
No, I know. Yeah. Well, you know where to find me. I'll check in if I have anything. Perhaps I'll leave a note next time.
let's be honest with you. Probably did you some good to hang out for a bit.
You don't have to roll insight. You know that she's not sure if that's true. she's tired. Yeah. She's the person who needs to get out more. You know this matter of factly. You see it in her soul, but you don't know that she would ever believe that. She's a addicted to work type person. So, but she sort of nods politely, and then you see her just sort of disappear, which you've seen her before. Some kind of misty step or other effect as she vanishes from the room. And it's just sort of at that moment as the parents, you start to hear the sounds of trays coming back in. Is there anything that you as a party just sort of talk about before you start going to sleep? I know that Aesop is still out and about.
After dark, Mouse does want to go off on her own for a hot minute.
Okay. Or just right outside, or are you wandering about?
I'm just finding space outside to cast Sending.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Starry form.
Yes, my quill form. First I'll message Fern. I will say, once you get up and running, head to Consonance and tell the people at the dock you're with the Left Stars. Hopefully you can break. You started a guild and are recruiting members. I'm messaging the twins.
She responds to say, "Will do. I think I've figured that part out. The whole not crashing thing. We'll see."
Fern's got this. Total faith. And then I will message Dawn and say, I hope you're well. I heard you're heading to an observatory. That sounds fun. If you finish there, head to Consonance. We've started a guild. Fern is coming.
I want to correct you as a player before I respond. Button is going to the... You have not messaged Dawn yet. Dawn was going south, Button was going north. They split up.
I misread my notes. I have Dawn went south to an observatory. Cool. Messaging Button.
Messaging Button. You're going to an observatory. Okay. Sorry, you were reading it. Can you tell me again? I was so landlocked in my mind that who you were messaging.
No, I've got you. I said, I hope you're well. I heard you're going to an observatory. That sounds fun. If you finish there, head to Consonance. We've started a guild. Fern is coming.
Okay. This late at night, all of your friends are awake, certainly. And you get a response that says, "Sure thing. Still trying to figure out how to get to the observatory. Money's tight and none of the airships seem to fly out that far. But I'll let you know."
I wish I could message again and let him know that we have a ship, but maybe tomorrow night. That's all.
Okay. Aesop. I hate just always like fast forwarding through your friend things, but I think there's like there's a basic level of catch up that you do, I imagine.
Yeah. I would say like halfway through the run, skip over to the park. We'll like stop and catch up as we like talk. I think I'm the most honest with her about everything that's going on. Maybe still not using like the most important names in certain conversations, but like it's like she has been my rock in college and she still continues to be. So I really trust this person to like, oh my god, this is everything I've been through the past 6 months. Here it is.
Yeah, and she is just over the moon excited about everything you're doing, asking all the questions, trying to get all the details. Not like you don't get the vibe that she's trying to like write the poem of Aesop that she can perform on stage or anything like that, but she definitely is like eager to hear what her friends are up to and eager to like she has no sort of questions about your ability at all. She thinks this is all terribly exciting. And sort of like throughout this conversation, she sort of speaks and says, so now what? Are you here? What's the next big adventure? What?
You know, I'm not sure, but most likely we're gonna be on a ship. We have our own ship, isn't that's
own
wild?
Ship?
I know, crazy, right? Like not one of the big Minotaur ships that.
You know, I've
my
never actually
family
been on a
owns.
ship before.
You've never been on a ship?
Never. I've lived here my whole life.
I feel like your voice would still carry so well up in the air, though. Like, let's be real, girl. Let's be real. It's quite exhilarating. I don't know how big the ship is, but one of our friends, I'm pretty sure, built it. So that's exciting too. It runs like through starlight.
Wow. Okay. I would love to see it sometime. I mean, so are you taking the ship out? Like, how?
I think probably.
Here's the deal. She sort of puts like a mischievous face on look on her face and says, and pulls out.
I'll give her one back.
She pulls out a handful of tickets.
Okay.
And says, "Here's the deal. Got a show coming up.
Uh-huh.
Would really love if you could come."
What day?
The good old adult problem of scheduling. She says, these are friend passes, so, really anytime within the next week.
Oh, just any night? Do you prefer at the theater every night, or is there a specific night you want us to come?
I haven't really, like, during this time you kind of realize that you've been mostly telling, like, she's been so eager to hear everything that you've been up to that she hasn't
Hyped up about anything. Yeah.
And as soon as you like ask a question about like, oh, what are you up to, she like interrupts to ask you more details. So it's like now that you've sort of like grounded her to have to respond, she's like, yeah, so I kind of had a little bit of a breakout, and
Really?
like, yeah, I am not working today. Well, I did work this morning. I had a show, but I'm kind of booked up for the whole month.
Oh, look at you!
And
I'm so proud of you.
And it's like kind of a solo performance.
Wow. Oh my god. Speaking of, I am so sorry I almost interrupted you. I was so excited to send that message through. Didn't realize you might be working. My bad.
It's fine. Mornings are better.
Hey.
But yes, she shows you, she has a ticket, or like a handful of tickets. You get the impression that it was sort of like, I mean, you would very much be welcome to bring the Left Stars. They don't have names on them, but the tickets were sort of like you, Jory, Poppy, and your parents. Mm-hmm. So there was 5 tickets. So you look, and it sort of like is this like relatively simple design that says like featuring Savindra, and it is the Midnight Chorus is what it's the title of it.
Oh, what a beautiful! Is that like your nickname, or is that just like the name of your number?
That's the event. You know,
did you pick it out? Did you name it?
I kind of have like an agent now.
Okay, she's professional. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at us.
So,
Who would have thought we'd be here?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have you and anybody who you want to bring. And they are pretty good tickets. So, but they don't, I mean, to be clear, like, I'm not selling out the theater or anything. So it's not a big deal if you can't make it, but it would be great if you could.
Are these like all day, or these are like for a specific time just to get in?
Yeah, you look down and it sort of is like a 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. sort of show.
Okay. All next week, then just like trying to like get all the details in my head. Would have been it. It would have been so cute to bring the whole gang along, but I know Bruce is off somewhere in his rock fandom. I met up with Poppy recently. She's doing great. I actually got a commission for her at our old spot at Mother Mary's, so she's going to be doing some work over there for them, which is fantastic. And Jory's just off on a grand old adventure, which I'm not... As a player, I don't remember where he's at, but Ace up and down.
Yeah, he's on a research tour through many places.
Yes.
Well, she says, well, it looked like I didn't get to say hello to them, but you have other friends and they're welcome as well if they like theater.
I'm pretty sure some of them will. But I don't know about everyone, but they're gonna come.
Well, if you all need a night off from all of your adventures, please come down. Maybe we can get something to eat either before or after the show. Just send me a message that morning, maybe.
Now I can telepathically send you a message.
Cool. Yeah, just again, let me know in the morning. I generally am free within a couple hours before the show. It's at you look at the tickets. It's at Hyperia Theater, which is in the Southern Heights.
Mm-hmm. I think it's,
and you've been there several. I don't know if it's on the map, or I don't know if you have the little icon for it, but it is. Is
it this one?
Left and up. That one. Yeah, that one.
It's not letting me click either. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
But it is that one.
Okay.
And there it is. Not that one, but she says, yeah, let me know. I mean, if you forget to let me know, that's fine. Just if you let me know, we can get some food. Give me a perception check.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I was gonna... Oh, God. Oh, no. I'm scared. Come on, good roll. Not bad.
Give me a second. I need to pull something up. As you're sort of continuing the conversation, I should roll for her as well, to be fair.
Great. Yeah, why not?
So continuing the conversation, you know that it's starting to get a little bit late.
Yes.
And she sort of echoes this too, as she's like, well, it's late. I gotta go. I didn't perform tonight. There was a paperwork issue. Not a big deal. Don't worry about it. But I had the night off because of some administration stuff, so it was a good timing. But no, I gotta go because tomorrow is showtime. So she just sort of like rushes up, gives you another hug, and just says, let me know.
Let me. Do I get what? Do I see anything with my perception check? Because I don't want to metagame here.
Well, I would say like what is Aesop's demeanor?
My demeanor would be I don't want to walk. I don't generally, and especially after what happened, I don't want her to walk by herself all the way home. So at least like leaving the park and like walking past my house, I would want her to stay with me.
She indicates to you that she has a place with some roommates that you don't know who are staying in the Northern Heights.
Okay, so she has a place here. Cool.
Yeah, she has a place that's like a little bit closer to the western edge of the Northern Heights, so like by the gate.
I think
sort of like friendly walk her home sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I would walk her home. I didn't know whether or not she lived in the district, but now that I know she does, I think my first thought would be, oh, it's close enough. Let's walk home.
You drop her off and now also have the benefit of kind of knowing where she lives.
Yes.
And she gives you a final hug, good night, and thanks you for lovely evening, for walking her home, all those things. Gives you like a friendly peck on the cheek. And then you see her sort of disappear into like the dark home that if she has roommates, they're sleeping. As you sort of like look up into a window and see a candlelight like snuff out, in the sense that like she's turning out for the night.
Right.
And you return home.
Okay. You have my heart beating out of my chest, DM. Thank you for making me incredibly stressed and sweaty. My palms are incredibly moist at the moment. I had a plan. I'm sorry?
If you had rolled a 15, Selmy Vaughn was right there.
Right there. I had a plan in case something were to happen. I will not spoil it in case it comes up again. But I had a fun plan if something were to happen.
You don't know that nothing happened.
Correct.
You just know that you didn't see anything.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And you return home.
Yep. All lovely dandy. Such a great night.
You had to roll that perception check, and I messaged Millie with, I bet she's a werewolf. Call it.
Any final activities in the night? I'm only saying this because I know I just created stress, but it sounded like nobody was taking watch, which is fine. I'm just reminding you about the previous day.
I think the first thing I did want to talk to Aesop's dad about the training dummy and the gold I left, just to make sure we're squared up.
You probably, whether you would choose to approach him or not, you see it's already been replaced.
I would still go talk to him.
He's like, he said, we had some more in the shed. I do it all the time.
Great. Cool. And then, honestly, I don't think, even though Clax knows they should probably stand watch, he's exhausted. It's been a long day and a half.
Yeah, I mean, you're destined for a disadvantage perception roll, even if you stood awake. So,
yep.
I think Flint would stay up for a bit. Maybe kind of sort of take a watch. Maybe make sure, I don't know, Aesop ends up home, things like that. But
yeah, I would say staying up late enough to see Aesop come home, you feel, I mean, are you sitting indoors? Just like
hanging out on the front porch or something like that, or
okay. If you would like to roll a perception check as you're keeping watch outside, feel free.
I would love to. Also, I think Drado would also be kind of staying up late, probably doing his thing on the roof for a bit. Just anxious and looking around after the day's proceedings, and also at some point would try to finagle with his choker to see if he can get us to send a message back to Anushka. And even if he can't, just try it. But yeah, I think he's out looking as well.
Okay. Which are you more focused on? Is this an investigation? It's fine.
I think he's absentmindedly kind of just.
Okay.
I think
Then we'll keep that perception roll, but give me like an investigation with disadvantage as you're just sort of fumbling with it.
Got you.
Oh.
Okay, that's
Okay, that's not that bad. As you're just sort of fiddling with it, you've never. I mean, it's always just sort of hung from your neck, and as you are sort of fiddling with it, you see you push hard on it, and kind of like it just sort of slides where the moon shape on it does the moon shape of it that is sort of on the left side does start to rotate on the ring of the talisman until it hits the right side, and you start to feel it vibrate like very softly.
Is this thing on? Hello? I don't know if it is, but it's got a Nelik, and I have successfully connected, at least to some extent, successfully with Hardhold, and thanks. That's all. I don't know if I'm doing this right.
In the middle of your talking, you're interrupted by a vibration that's coming from it that says, yes, this is Anushka's voice. You hear, yes, this is working. Please contact us if you have anything to share. Let us know.
Have successfully made contact.
No, you feel it stop vibrating, and then the moon sort of locks back into its initial position, and try as you might, it doesn't work again.
Great. Well, a learning experience nonetheless.
Make a separate intelligence check for me as well. Sorry, just sort of loading rolls on you. Okay. This is sort of just something that occurs to you, is like, clearly this thing has some kind of magic, and you know that Flint has done like detect magics before. There's something about it that hasn't ticked him off, or either it's ticked him off and he's just never mentioned it, but it's something that you thought was not magical clearly has magic, and you're like, well, how did nobody notice? It's just sort of a thought that occurs to you. Flint, as you actually, hold on, sorry.
So many rolls.
Jesus. So many bad rolls. Oh, they're all hidden rolls, I think, but they're bad. let me. One of them was accidentally drawn. I shouldn't actually take that one, but this is not a good roll. As Aesop is coming through, you just sort of like wave towards him, and there's just like a silhouette 100 feet behind him that disappears behind another building, as sort of watching Aesop enter this home. But they disappear, and you have no idea. There's nothing telltale about it.
Hey, Flint, is everything okay? You kind of had a strange look when I walked in. Do I have like stains on my clothes? Did I get something on me?
Did you have someone with you, or anything? Like,
Yeah, Savvy and I went to the
I mean,
park together.
like just now though, like on your walk back.
Flint, you saw just me and Savvy leave together.
Yeah, there was somebody else out there when you were walking. I don't look like they were following you.
I'll look behind me. Of course, I don't see anyone there, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's like past midnight. This is not the time where people walk around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no. No,
Uh,
nothing else, just a silhouette.
yeah, I couldn't really tell much else about it.
It was kind of backlit by the glow of the Citadel lights.
I'll maybe quiet, like whisper yell, like, "Hey, Drata, are you still up there on the roof?
Now what's up?
Do you want to maybe go do that like sneaky you're invisible thing and just meander the neighborhood and look and see if you see any weird, ominous figures?"
Give me a direction and how far I should go, but sure.
Try to
What's that?
just come
100 feet?
down here real quick.
Okay, fine. And yeah, Drata, yeah, for the first time, yeah, just straight up walks down the wall. Yeah.
I'll look at Drada and be like, apparently, when I was coming back from my adventure with Savvy, Flint saw a silhouette following directly behind me, and went behind the building. Right over there, right, Flint?
Yeah.
You don't need to go. Just if you're going to be out there all night, I feel like we should also up there all night, pointing to the roof. You should also be aware that someone else is out there.
Let me be clear. I'm not putting myself through 2 nights of rooftop sleeping. That's not pleasant. It's a vibe when you're in a mood. It's not comfortable. But I mean, if it's just right over there, I can give a look.
You
Yeah.
want? Okay. We'll be.
Yeah.
Flint and I will stand outside over here.
Or should I walk that way and then Trota could just be up on the roof and
No, let try
Okay.
to do their thing. I
Okay.
can get us. I can get us to the exact location in an instant if need be.
Alright.
Yeah, I think Drata would head out, being sure to stay in shadow as much as physically possible, especially given the light of the walls. If we're going to bed after this, we'll sure can cast Pass Without Trace. Just why not?
Why not?
And,
Sorry, I'm going to just prep. It's because it doesn't involve a lot of prep. It's just verbal components. But I'm going to prep Dimension Door, and I'm going to tell Flint to hold my hand. Now you got me stressed.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Go and roll stealth, and then we'll add +10 to that, and then roll investigation as well.
Here you go.
No advantage.
Oh no.
Oh,
The invisibility
Oh.
spell
It's a
gives advantage.
22.
Being invisible is not advantage. Yeah,
Oh.
there is no such thing as a auto fail on skill checks. It is a numbers game. So it
It's
is
still
a 22.
Okay. I was under the impression that one is just a yeah.
and you said investigation?
Yes, an investigation as well. You wander out in the direction indicated. I think with a natural one, even though you know that you're sort of embracing your like dread ambusher invisibility innate magic that you have, you know that standing outside on the porch pointing, like that your friend's standing and pointing on the porch is really kind of a tell in and of it's like if anybody was watching, like they would know that you're coming, whether they can see you or not. But you do still disappear into the darkness and start to sort of walk in the direction that had been indicated, and you don't see anything. You spend 10 minutes out there, 15 minutes. At some point, it's like there's not really any evidence of anybody having been here in the space that had been indicated, which tells you like you could expand your search, but you wouldn't even know where to start.
And you are in the middle of a crowded city, so primeval awareness would not be helpful. But
I mean, you,
How does primeval awareness work?
it's an action, and I sense whether any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fays, fiends, or undead are present within 1 mile of me.
I mean, undead wouldn't be a terrible... Because my hunch is it's cracks, but...
We're also in a Minotaur community, so I don't think anything else would really pop up.
yeah, and a mile, just to give a, like, our map measures in minutes, but like if we're thinking walking speed being minutes, so like the entire Northern Heights is probably a mile radius, give or take.
Sheesh.
Might be smart to do that.
I mean, why not do it? And also, if we get a bunch of other fun readings, that's maybe a fun prep for what we need to know going into some ruins tomorrow.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, yeah, I guess before heading back, a primeval awareness, and then head back to report what I...
I'm just giving that one more read.
It's in
Yeah.
beaches.
I got it. Nothing pings except undead.
Great. Well, that's not concerning. I'm happy to report that information, but
yeah, and I think you can decide what you wish to believe, but the series of events would suggest that the amount of time you've spent, it's unlikely that somebody got more than a mile away, assuming that the directions given to you were accurate. So,
I mean, unless there is like a ghost at the university or some vampires still hanging out in the blood bank. My hunch is it was cracks.
I mean, we can, assuming we make it fine and I still have spell slots left after our adventures tomorrow, happy to cast it tomorrow night and see if we see a change in answer.
I will be honest and say I did not sense anything on the way back. So Savvy and I were just, of course, we wanted to get back, so we were just kind of speedily walking, not speedy enough to get away from a vampire if it was him. He had every single opportunity once we left the light of the center of the city to kill both of us, which stresses me out, and the fact that he did not. It stresses me out that he didn't, and it stresses me out that something was there. I'm stressed.
So the Interesting.
I need to go to bed. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep, but I need my bed.
How would you and your friend catch up about?
I mentioned everything that we've done, leaving out names.
Okay. Hopefully that left a good impression on Krex if you overheard us.
I had some sense of caution sticking towards the lit area of the park from the center city light, but if he was close to us at the park, I didn't see him.
Well, and he's got that cloak that even as a vampire, you can get close to the light and be okay, I think.
Hot. Yeah. I'm going to bed.
Should we set up watches?
Yeah,
Or something in the neighborhood?
Just as a reminder, if you want to watch, you're going to need to wake Clax up because he is already out.
I mean, we can just do individual watches.
Yeah.
Get Clax for the night.
Yeah.
I'll take first watch. I'm already up.
You can wait.
Yeah.
It sounds like Flint and I kind of took first watch.
Yeah, I think that's already sort of happened. And I think for the sake of brevity and also just because we're closing out on this game, nothing happens this evening as you guys set up some light watches, knowing that it's late. You have a task in the morning. You want to get to sleep. And sort of you have some maybe like mental assurance that if something was going to happen, it could have happened already. But I think it does sort of occur to you that your location is known by whoever that was.
Mm-hmm.
It may also occur to you that the location of one of your friends could be known.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be that anything you talked about, I know you left out, I expect that you left out a fair amount of names, but you probably didn't leave out like Avendir or
The good people names
Yeah,
I left in,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, you didn't say anything with the intention of endangering Savvy, but you did probably lay out your history to bear to anybody who could have been listening. So
Who
without
did?
Yeah. So without saying who could have been listening, if they so chose, I think Aesop has a hard time sleeping. There's just a realization that like that it's just worst case scenario thinking.
To the point of DM, I'm pretty sure I got a point of exhaustion. And if you would allow
You're
me...
welcome to self-impose that if you want.
I will.
Okay.
And to the point being, if we want to keep this into this session or not, as soon as morning hits, like 8 a.m., I'm messaging Savvy. Good morning!
Let's save that for the next game. Go ahead
Right.
and everybody take a long rest, except Aesop. Mark your exhaustion.
That is...
And I, to be fair, I make a Constitution saving throw. Like when Klax was attacking the poles, I gave him a chance to save out of exhaustion. So I should give you the same opportunity.
Okay.
Just roll better than I did.
Yeah, just roll. We'll say above a 14.
Saving throw?
Con save, yeah.
Constitution? Okay.
Or above a 10. Sorry. Okay.
Oh.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. I think like you doze off, but you probably have some bad dreams. Like
Oh, horrible.
nothing crippling. You still wake up, but you all have a long rest, Aesop included, and we will figure out where to go from there at the next game because you all have a task and you have things going on. So thanks for playing.
Thank you for stressing us out.